This one for WWE champions. Pay to win like every day, yeah.
I don't play mobile games.
Funny how they still think I'm a broke man.
Then I'm broke.
Even though I be pulling Hogan. I spent like 40 grand on a couple thousand pictures of some sweaty men.
Okay, I have two more news stories. They kind of go hand in hand, but not really, but let's do them. The first news story is, this is actually supposedly true based on a statement that publisher Take-Two said. Alright? Supposedly. The Xbox Series X and X has been outsold 2-1 by the PlayStation 5 as of the end of 2023. I'll be honest with you, I would believe that. I think that's sad, because as I've told you guys, the Xbox and PlayStation 5 are basically equivalent consoles this console gen. They just are. They play games almost identically. They have incredibly similar features, right? Really, it's a choice of any console exclusives, like which console do you want to play them on? Do you want to take advantage of a Game Pass subscription service? And which controller do you like better? You know, personally, I prefer the Xbox controller. I find this way more comfortable in my hand. I like that the thumbsticks are different positions. I like the triggers better. I don't care about the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers of the PS5 controller. In fact, I find it more annoying than anything else. I love this controller, and therefore, I just find myself playing this games on Xbox usually more often than PlayStation. Okay? But that's really the only reason. Like, everything else looks the same, but for some reason, the Xbox refuses to sell in a lot of markets. For example, for those who may not realize this, because maybe you are American like me, or maybe you live in the UK, outside of our territories, the Xbox basically doesn't sell. It just sits on the shelf. In Japan, almost no one buys the Xbox ever. To them, there's one console, PlayStation, and then, of course, the Switch. But that, and to them, Xbox, you know, they just don't care about the Xbox at all. It's like definitely the massive third place in those countries. It just refuses to catch on. I think what it is we're in a unique situation. If you're American, Xbox 360 was a ginormous hit. Xbox 360 outsold PS3 but in droves at first. It wasn't until the very end of that console generation that PlayStation caught up with them. So everyone thinks in their heads, you know, Xbox is prominent. Really, I think we really do massively underestimate the botch that was the launch of the Xbox One and the real fuck up job that Don Matrick did when he was head of Xbox Game Studios. Like, by launching that console with the Kinect, saying it was going to be digital only, and then he went back on that because he's a fucking jackass, making the console essentially a cable box instead of just a game console, making it look like a cable box with its design, one of the most worst game console designs in history, right? I mean, the Xbox One took so many steps back from what the predecessor was that they lost all of their market share. People just didn't want that console. You know, take a look at games like Killer Instinct. That was a game that at the launch of Xbox One was an Xbox One exclusive, correct? And the truth of the matter is that game was good, but no one bought it because no one bought an Xbox. So that game, which would have been a hit if it was cross-platform, or maybe like a blockbuster seller if it was on PS5, a PS5 exclusive even, ended up basically fading into obscurity. To this day, it has like a hardcore fan base, but that's a shame. Anything that was like Xbox exclusive ended up flopping because the Xbox just wasn't prominent that console gen. Now again, the problem is first impressions are everything. This console gen, I feel the Xbox Series X is just as good as the PS5. I have both. I've played games on both. They play fine on both. So then what gives? Why is PS5 outselling? Because everyone had a PS4. It was undoubted that last console gen, PS4 was the dominant console and the better one. So everyone bought PS4, so this console gen, everyone just wants PS5. It rolls right into it. And so you've got this installed base of people who want it. And then, of course, with COVID, which no one foresaw coming, we had this false scarcity where people could not get the consoles. And because they couldn't get them, now people wanted them even more. So people who maybe wouldn't have even really cared that much about getting a PS5, now the desire, it was like a luxury item, a collector's item. You were special if you could get a PS5, right? In reality, I don't think that again, even the exclusives, like people argue, oh, the PS5 exclusives versus the Xbox exclusives. I don't even think it's been that big of a deal, just being honest. I mean, we got a big one coming up with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, right? You had the God of War games, okay? But for the most part, you know, it's not that big of a deal. Same thing with Xbox. Oh, Halo Infinite and stuff like that. That's not a big deal either. I don't think the exclusives have really been giant deals. It's just the mentality of everyone of the consumer is we want PS5 because PS4 was the best one, so now we want the next one, right? And it's sad because, I mean, I think like Xbox, again, they really did try to come back from the flop job that was Xbox One. They tried to learn from those mistakes, and it doesn't really matter that they did. No one really cares. That's what's sad. However, I will say this, because here's the final story for today, okay? If you guys remember last week, right here on this show, I was telling you all, excuse me, about how there were rumors, strong rumors in the gaming community and journalists and social media, and the rumors were that Xbox was now going to port all of their exclusive games to other consoles, like notably Hi-Fi Rush, and then the rumors spread to Starfield and other games like that. And everyone was making these articles. Xbox is ending. No more Xbox console. They're just going to be third party like Sega. It was ridiculous. People had Xbox logo on fire, right? Nuclear bombs exploding. Xbox is ending. Xbox, right? And when all this was going on, I came right here on this very show and I said to all of you, bullshit. I said, a company like Xbox doesn't buy Activision Blizzard to then get out of the console game. A company like Microsoft, all right, is not just going to throw in the towel. Now, I agree with the fact that maybe if you take those exclusives like Hi-Fi Rush and a year later you port them to other consoles, you can make extra money. There may be some people on PlayStation who want to play Hi-Fi Rush. They don't have a PC, and this will be their opportunity to check out that game. Even Starfield, I'll agree. Starfield, port that to freaking PlayStation. You might get some extra players on there, okay? I don't see the problem with that. But there absolutely was never, ever any evidence whatsoever that essentially Xbox was going to get out of the console game. There was no rumor, there was no evidence that that was going to happen. No one said it, no facts, but someone just made it up. And everyone on the internet ran with it because people are drama queens who want clickbait views on their articles and their content. People got hundreds of thousands to millions of views on videos about this topic, and it had zero substantiation whatsoever. It actually blew out of proportion so far that Phil Spencer, the CEO of Xbox Gaming, came out and said, next week I'm going to do an official announcement to set the record straight about all of this. But what's funny is the people who claimed that they had sources saying this now have all backpedaled. In the last couple of days, they said, well, now that we looked at it closely, I guess those sources weren't really real, so sorry about that. It's like, wait, what? So literally, you made it up for clickbait. And everyone ran with it, and everyone had this big drama week for literally no fucking reason, and there was no substantiation for it. So everyone gets clickbait. Everyone makes ad revenue. Everyone gets all this fucking, everyone's watching this stuff. It's all bullshit. And what did I say on this show last week? I refuse to entertain the subject. If we hear this from Microsoft, fine. Then we'll talk about it and we'll entertain the subject. This is rumor mongering. This is the worst kind of journalism because it's only because there's nothing else going on. It's a slow news week. So let's make shit up to get clickbait. And the problem is, this is supposed to be our news. We're not talking, oh, a YouTuber did it. Of course YouTubers did. But IGN covered it. Kotaku covered it. Like, everyone covered it as if it was a real news story when there was zero substantiation of any fact to back up what these people were saying or speculating. So now, here we are, and we're about to see what happens next week when Phil Spencer actually comes out. Here's my prediction. They're going to basically say games will be timed exclusives. Games like Hi-Fi Rush or Starfield or others that were going to be made by Microsoft Studios. They'll likely come out on Xbox Series X, S, and PC simultaneously first for like a 6-month window. That'd be my guess. I think 6 months is a good window. It gives enough of a head start that you have incentive. If you want to play those games at launch, you got to buy an Xbox, right? And then after the 6 months, then they'll port them to other consoles like PlayStation or Switch, and now other people can enjoy them. But if you don't want to wait, you got to get the Xbox, right? I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that's a good business decision. I'm not some dumb Xbot who thinks that Xbox games should eternally be exclusive to Xbox. I think that's fucking stupid. So I think that's a great suggestion. I think that's a great business move. It is a little sad because obviously if Xbox were doing healthier, they would never port those games. They'd just be like, you just got to buy our console forever. But I think what it is they're seeing their initial flash of success, and then that's it, sales tapered off. Who the fuck is buying Starfield in 2024? Right? It's dead. It's a dead game. So now they need to get that market back elsewhere. And I think that's what's going to end up happening is they're going to try now to seek that market elsewhere after a set period of time. I bet that's going to be Phil Spencer's announcement. If I'm wrong, fine. That's my take on it. That's my prediction. I think that's a level-headed take. I think that would be a smart business move for them. And I don't think that would hurt them at all. I don't see how, if they're really 50% behind the sales of PlayStation, I don't see how that move or any move could hurt them at this point. They've got to do something, right? So, that's what I'm thinking. But do I expect that Phil Spencer's going to come out and say, oh yeah, we're throwing in the towel. Xbox Series S and X will be our final consoles, and from now on we're going to go full third party. We're pulling a Sega. No. This company is rolling in money. This company just made one of the biggest gaming acquisitions of all time with Activision Blizzard. They're now not going to scale back. What the fuck are you talking about? Doesn't make any sense at all. Anyway, that's my take. We'll see what happens next week. And I will cover it level-headed for you. I will not do the sky is falling, burning Xbox logo expose streams to waste your time, because literally anyone who did that in the last week wasted their viewers' time. I just want to emphasize that. And you can fucking clip me with this and share this all over the internet. If you did a story in the last week citing that Xbox was going full third party, you're a liar, you're disrespectful to your audience, and you're a clickbait content creator and or journalist who doesn't deserve the time of day from any viewers ever again. You are greedy, and you only did it for the attention with no substantiation whatsoever for what you were saying. Fuck you. There you go.